China has an image problem. Well, everyone knows that by now. You hear China, you think wolf warrior or death trap or Uyghur genocide. So Beijing is plotting a global media campaign. In simple words, an image makeover. An American report has revealed details about this Chinese plot. 4 things stand out: censorship, data harvesting, harassment of journalists, and covert purchase of foreign outlets. The idea here is twofold. The first is to run positive coverage on China, to create a favorable perception. The second is to suppress critical news, like the military drills near Taiwan, or the crackdowns in Hong Kong, or the genocide in Xinjiang. You try to suppress it. Apparently, Pakistan is among their top targets. That's right, China wants to control the Pakistani media, and there are 2 questions here: why and how. The why is pretty obvious. China has invested billions of dollars in Pakistan. It's a key part of their Belt and Road project, so public opinion is important. It's easier to invest and operate if the locals like you. If not, it could be trouble. So that answers the why. Now, the how is more complicated. How will China do it? The US report mentions media cooperation in the CPEC. That's the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Within this, multiple projects have been launched, like the CPEC Rapid Response Information Network and the China-Pakistan Media Corridor. And this last one, the Media Corridor, is very ambitious. Both sides have pledged to create a media nerve center. What will this center do? A number of things, like collect inputs from Chinese think tanks, opinion leaders and companies, convert key reports into Urdu, translate them into Urdu, push Chinese embassy statements into Pakistan's official press release system, and finally respond to criticism of China. I know it sounds a bit complicated, but just know this: China is trying to control the narrative in Pakistani press. That's the aim. They want to amplify Chinese statements, highlight what Chinese companies are doing, and limit criticism of China. And remember, this is a friendly country. Pakistan and China are supposed to be iron brothers, yet this is what Beijing does to them. So you can imagine what awaits rivals and enemies. By the way, Islamabad has not approved this nerve center project yet, but other levels of cooperation are happening. Not just in Pakistan, this is happening globally, in fact. Reports say China has around 100 influencers on its payroll. They operate in more than 20 languages. What is their job? Keep spreading Chinese propaganda. Another method is partnerships. China's state-run CCTV has deals with 1,700 foreign agencies. I'll repeat that. The Chinese state-run CCTV has deals with 1,700 foreign agencies. They give them scripts, videos, and reports. Look at this one. It shows a delegation of Muslim countries in Xinjiang. They're visiting museums. They're meeting the residents. They're having the local food. It looks like the perfect place for cultural tourism. But we know it's not. We know that Xinjiang is where China has jailed 1 million Uyghurs. Now, if you saw this video without context, you wouldn't know that. That's what China is trying to do. A third strategy is buying influence. Just outright payments. Pay money. In 2021, the US Justice Department revealed some details. China was giving big money to American newspapers. And just look at these numbers. Around $700,000 were paid to the Time magazine. $371,000 to the Financial Times. Around $300,000 to Foreign Policy magazine, and $270,000 to the Los Angeles Times. Now, these are prominent newspapers in the US, and turns out Chinese state media gave them money. Reports say even the likes of New York Times and Washington Post received money. But they're yet to be confirmed. Now, the US media landscape is huge. It is widely read and it's well funded. Maybe they can withstand the Chinese pressure and the Chinese money. But what about countries where the media is struggling for funds? That Chinese money will look very appealing to them. Beijing has done that in countries like Chile and Kenya. State-run Xinhua Agency has the largest correspondent network in Africa. Their operations are centered in Nairobi. The same city hosts the African Bureau of CGTN, that's a Chinese state-run channel. China Daily publishes from Nairobi, and so does China Radio International. These investments have created some 500 jobs in Kenya. Most of these journalists are trained in China, so you can imagine their worldview. Beijing is spending billions of dollars on this global plan to influence media narratives abroad. The easier option would be to become a responsible country, to not invade others or crack down on its own citizens. I guess for Xi Jinping, that's too much to ask.